All right, so ready to dig into this Mine Geologist interview prep.
Let's excavate some career-defining answers.
I love that energy. Okay, so picture this. You're facing a panel. They're grilling you about what's hidden beneath our feet. A little nerve-wracking, right?
Definitely. But that's where RoleCatcher comes in. They've got your back. Their career guides and AI prep materials are amazing.
Totally, like having a secret weapon. We're going deep into their interview guide today, unearthing some of those make-or-break questions.
Sounds good.
Okay, first one they throw at you. What inspired you to become a mine geologist?
Hmm.
Seems simple enough, but there's got to be more to it, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's your chance to really let your passion shine through. It's
Yeah.
not enough to just say, I like rocks. Everyone says that. Think back to what really sparked that interest.
Yeah, like a specific moment.
Exactly. Was it a childhood rock collection, a documentary that blew your mind?
I can see it now. Little rock collection under the bed, yeah.
Exactly. Or maybe a field trip that opened your eyes to the wonders of geology. That's the good stuff.
Make it personal. So they're hooked on your story. Then, bam, next question. How do you stay updated on the latest in mining tech? How do you handle that one?
That's where you prove you're a lifelong learner, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to fall into that trap of saying, oh, I'm eager to learn new things, but everyone says that. Get specific. Name those industry journals you read religiously.
Like name drop.
Exactly. Any conferences you've been to, online forums you're part of, anything that shows you're on top of your game.
Yeah, show them you're not just keeping up, you're ahead of the curve. Now, this next one is where things get real. How do you ensure that all exploration data is accurate and reliable? Talk about pressure.
This is where you demonstrate that meticulous side, right? Don't just say you double-check your work. Talk about specific data validation techniques, quality control procedures that you follow.
Any specific software?
Exactly. That's gold. Maybe even recall a time when your attention to detail saved the day, like catching an error that could have been costly.
Love that. A real-life example, always a winner. Speaking of winners, RoleCatcher's AI interview prep is a game changer. It's like having a personal coach analyzing your every word right.
It's unbelievable. Imagine this, you answer a question like, how do you prioritize exploration projects? And this AI analyzes it right there against the job description.
No way.
Yes. It tells you if you're hitting the right keywords, highlighting the most relevant experience. It's like tailoring your answers for maximum impact.
That's next level stuff.
Ah.
But okay, back to the hot seat. RoleCatcher throws this one at you. You've got multiple promising projects. How do you choose which ones to pursue?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's where strategic thinking comes into play. You have to be able to see the big picture.
So it's not just about which one has the coolest rocks.
Well, it's a factor, but you need to demonstrate that you can weigh things like economic viability, the environmental impact, regulations, the whole shebang.
Right, you're juggling a lot there. Okay, next up, how do you ensure safety and compliance when conducting fieldwork?
This one feels pretty crucial. It's essential, and you can't be vague here. Describe the actual safety protocols you follow. Mention risk assessments you conduct. How do you make sure everything's by the book?
Right, show them safety is a top priority for you.
Absolutely. And if you have specialized training or certifications, now is the time to mention them.
Yeah, flex those credentials. Last question for this round, ready?
Hit me.
How do you analyze geological data and then communicate your findings to, let's say, non-technical stakeholders?
Oh, that communication piece is key.
Right, like you've got to bridge the gap between complex science and, well, everyday language. How do you do that?
It's all about clear, concise communication. Emphasize your ability to use visuals, maybe even a bit of storytelling, to make those technical details relatable. Think about a time when you had to explain a complex geological concept to someone who wasn't a geologist.
Like your grandma.
Exactly. How'd you tailor your approach? That's what they want to hear.
That's so important. Being able to communicate complex information clearly is like a superpower.
And speaking of superpowers, that's kind of what RoleCatcher gives you, right? Their career guide, it doesn't just prep you for the interview. It's like a roadmap for your whole career as a mine geologist.
Oh, you mean those example career profiles? They're really cool, showing how the role changes over time.
Exactly. It's amazing to see how the responsibilities evolve, you know? Like, starting as a junior geologist, you're learning the ropes, assisting with data collection.
Right, you're like the eager apprentice.
Totally. Then, bam, you're a mine geologist, more independence, leading your own project.
Yeah, taking charge. But you know what's interesting? It's not all about the technical stuff. Remember that question about stakeholder engagement? That feels like a minefield in itself, no pun intended.
You're telling me. And of course, RoleCatcher thought of that too. One question is all about how do you manage those relationships, especially with local communities and regulatory agencies? It's a big one.
So it's not just rocks and data, it's people skills too.
Yeah.
How do you nail that question?
It's about showing you understand both sides, right? The community and the regulations. Highlight your experience with open communication, being a good listener, finding that common ground.
So you're like a mediator between the mining world and the rest of the world.
In a way, yeah. And a good story always helps. Maybe a time you successfully navigated a tricky situation with a stakeholder, something with a positive outcome. Now, here's a big one, especially these days. How do you ensure your exploration and mining activities are environmentally responsible and sustainable? That's huge.
It's not just about digging up the goods anymore, right? It's got to be done responsibly. So how do you show them you're on board with that?
It's about going beyond just saying you care about the environment. You need to demonstrate a real understanding of those environmental regulations.
Show them you know your stuff.
Exactly. And talk about actual experience. Maybe you implemented a new waste reduction strategy, or you were really involved in a reforestation project, things like that.
It's all about finding that balance, right? Between getting those resources and protecting the environment.
Absolutely. Now, let's say you're aiming for a more senior role, moving up the ladder. RoleCatcher has this great question. How do you manage and mentor junior geologists on your team? It's a whole different skill set.
Totally. You're not just a geologist anymore, you're a leader.
Exactly. So share your approach. How do you mentor? Regular feedback, creating opportunities for them to grow.
It's about bringing up the next generation of rock stars, right?
I love that. And speaking of rock stars, RoleCatcher's AI, it's not just about analyzing you, it's about helping you improve. Like that personalized feedback they give on CVs and cover letters, that's amazing.
That's like having a whole team of career advisors in your corner.
Right. The AI compares your stuff to tons of successful applications, points out areas where you can beef up your CV, tailor it to different jobs.
So you're constantly upping your game. Okay, but enough about the tech. Let's get back to the heart of it. You can have all the AI in the world, but without that passion, that drive, that love for geology, it's just not the same, right?
100%. You've got to love digging into the earth, uncovering its secrets. That's what makes a great mine geologist. But speaking of digging deeper, let's go back to those career profiles. Remember those different stages of a mine geologist's career? We were just talking about them.
Oh, absolutely. They're like snapshots of the journey, starting as that eager junior geologist all the way up to the big leagues, the chief mine geologist. It's pretty cool to see the progression laid out like that.
It is. It gives you something to aspire to. So let's start at the beginning. What were your impressions of that junior geologist profile? What jumped out at you?
Well, it's definitely a hands-on role, that's for sure. You're out in the field, collecting data, and then back in the lab, analyzing samples. It's a lot of learning by working closely with those senior geologists.
Exactly. It's like an apprenticeship, right? You're soaking up all that knowledge and experience from the pros. And the guide actually gets into some of the specific tasks a junior geologist might do.
Oh, like what? Give me some examples.
Sure, things like logging core samples, conducting those geophysical surveys, even creating geological maps. It gives you a real feel for what a typical day might look like.
So you're not just stuck in the lab all day, you get to get your hands dirty, literally.
Exactly. It's a great way to get a taste of all aspects of the field. Now, how does that compare to the next stage, the mine geologist? What did you think about that profile?
Well, it's definitely a step up in terms of responsibility. You're not just assisting anymore, you're starting to manage your own projects. And the guide emphasizes those problem-solving skills. You have to be able to think critically, analyze data, and come up with solutions.
Absolutely. And don't forget that communication piece we talked about earlier. Being able to explain your findings clearly and concisely, both to other geologists and to those non-technical folks, becomes even more crucial at this level.
Right, because you're interacting with more people, different departments, maybe even clients.
Exactly. You're becoming more of a well-rounded professional. Okay, now let's fast forward a bit. Imagine you've put in the years, you've got the experience, you're ready for a leadership role. What are your thoughts on that senior mine geologist profile?
Now that's where things get really interesting. It's not just about the technical expertise anymore. It's about leading and inspiring a team. The guide highlights the importance of strong communication, mentorship, being able to create a positive and productive work environment.
Exactly. You're not just managing projects, you're managing people, nurturing their talents, helping them grow. It's a whole different ballgame. And the decisions you make at that level have a much bigger impact on the company as a whole.
It's like you're shaping the future of the mining operation.
Precisely. And then, of course, there's the pinnacle of the career, the chief mine geologist. What did you think of that final profile?
That's like the rock star geologist, right?
Yeah.
The one calling the shots, leading the entire geological team.
Exactly. They're the visionary, the strategist, making those high-level decisions that impact the entire mining operation.
And it's not just about the geology at that point. It's about the business, the finances, the regulations, everything.
Absolutely. You've got to be able to see the big picture, understand how all the pieces fit together. It's a demanding role, but incredibly rewarding for the right person.
It's amazing to see how far a career in mine geology can go. You can start out as a junior geologist, fresh out of school, and end up leading a team of experts, making decisions that impact the entire company. It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It is. And, RoleCatcher doesn't just describe these career stages. They give you actual advice on how to climb that ladder, how to achieve your goals.
Oh, that's right. They talk about the importance of continuous learning, networking, always looking for opportunities to grow and develop your skills.
Exactly. And building a strong portfolio of work, showcasing your accomplishments. They recommend things like attending industry conferences, getting involved in professional organizations, finding a mentor.
So it's not enough to just be good at what you do. You have to be proactive, put yourself out there, make connections.
Precisely. And, in this day and age, having a strong online presence is crucial. RoleCatcher talks about creating a professional website or LinkedIn profile to really highlight your experience and skills.
Yeah, it really makes you think about all the different paths you can take with a geology career, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some people, they picture geologists out in the wilderness chipping away at rocks all day. And don't get me wrong, that's a huge part of it.
Absolutely. Field work is essential.
But these profiles, they show you that there's a whole other side to it. The analysis, the problem solving, the communication, even the leadership aspect. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's a very diverse field. And you know what else I think is really valuable? How RoleCatcher addresses those less tangible aspects of the job search.
What do you mean?
Well, things like dealing with salary expectations, it can be super awkward talking about money.
Whoa, tell me about it. But RoleCatcher, they give you some solid advice on that.
Yeah. They tell you how research industry standards, what similar jobs pay in your area, so you're not going in blind.
Right, you've got to know your worth.
Exactly. And they even give you tips on how to negotiate salary, which is so useful no matter where you are in your career. But, let's be real. No job is all sunshine and roses, right? Even a career as cool as mine geology has its challenges.
True that.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tougher aspects that RoleCatcher highlights?
Well, they're very upfront about the fact that fieldwork can be demanding. Long hours, sometimes harsh conditions, being away from home.
Yeah, you're not always in a climate-controlled lab.
Exactly. You need to be adaptable, resilient, and sometimes you're in remote locations, so you have to be resourceful. It's not for everyone, but for those who love adventure, who are passionate about geology.
The dream job.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher, they give you all the tools and support to make that dream a reality. It's pretty amazing, actually.
It really is. This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. We've covered so much ground, from acing those tough interview questions to navigating the ever-changing world of mining.
It's been a wild ride, but what's been the most exciting part for me?
What's that?
Seeing how RoleCatcher is empowering people, giving them the resources and confidence to chase their dreams in this field. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. So for anyone out there who's feeling inspired, who's ready to dig into the world of mine geology, remember, RoleCatcher has your back. Check out their website, explore their resources. You won't regret it.
Couldn't agree more. Go unearth your potential.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring.